Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury Interviews. Today we have Tommy Fyfe, and Tommy is a blues guitar player and also the front man of the Whiskey River Blues Band. They've been playing around for many years now, very well known and very talented. Just before we begin, you can find us on Sudstown and join the conversation. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out. Tommy Fyfe, how you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thanks
Good.
for doing this. You said you were building a fence there?
Yeah, my daughter wanted to get a fence up between her and the neighbor.
Nice.
My mother-in-law used to say, fences make good neighbors.
Perfect. I don't want to see your face. So, how long has your band been together for? I used to watch you guys 20 years ago at Northern Lights. Was it Northern Lights
Yeah,
or Summerfest and all those big festivals?
right. Well, the band started, first show was April 9th, 1986. So it's going to be 40 years this April.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, who was in the lineup there?
It started with myself and Joe Capizelli, who was a harmonica player, and Mike Haller on bass. And I think he just turned 19 at that night of that first show. And then I don't remember the name of the drummer. He was only there for one show. He wasn't very experienced, and he didn't feel comfortable with it. So Joe and I started off each set with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee tunes. So I played acoustic and he blew harp, and we did those tunes for about 15 minutes at the beginning of a set, and then we do electric blues after that. And it was at the Whistle Stop on Elm Street in Sudbury, owned by Rod Ellis, and where I met Linda, my wife.
Which building is that, Whistle Stop?
Well, it's right across from Comics North, and I think Legal Aid or somebody is in there.
Hmm.
It's been re-bricked, and it's now like a sandy sort of copper color.
Is that whereabouts from like the train tracks?
Well, there's the train tracks, and there's another building, and then there's the driveway, and then there's the Whistle Top.
Oh.
And it's a whole like series of buildings attached to each other. It goes all the way down in the back there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it had a big picture windows in the front, and there was a little restaurant that Rod ran. He was in the food business, and he loved the blues, and he and Tony and Selma were good friends. And other mutual friends started, thinking that it would be a good place to play, and I don't know, only hold maybe 30 or 40 people, but it was hopping every time the band played there, or any band played there. And there were 4 or 5 blues bands in town at the time, so it was a show every Friday and Saturday night.
What do you think's changed in the music scene in Sudbury since then?
Well, I mean, there's been a number of changes, a number of venues changing hands and disappearing and being reinvented, and new ones popping up. I think the biggest change happened after COVID, because whereas our band 20 years ago, we used to play every week, every weekend, pretty much all year long. Now we're lucky if you can find a gig for a band once a month, and the rest of the gigs are all solos and duos. The bars just don't seem to hire bands as much anymore. The townhouse gets bands, but I mean, you play for the door, so like, it's not like they're making that happen for music. They never have. It was always a play for the door thing, you know. So other bars that did support musicians financially too. I mean, there were a lot of bars then. There were a lot of bars with big stages and And our band played in the beginning, like in the first, well, I don't know, 15 or 20 years. We played a lot of country bars in the beginning, so we played six-nighters, 6 nights with a Saturday matinee. And there were, let me see, one, two, three, probably 7 or 8 bars in town that had six-nighters. And so we played 9 to 1 every night. And pretty well everybody had day jobs, so everybody was working day and night. And we had great fun. And then usually the fourth weekend of the month, we'd play in a rock and roll or a blues bar. So it kept us pretty busy in those days.
How old were you when you started learning music?
Well, that's a difficult one. We inherited my grandmother's piano when I was a little kid. I don't know, maybe in grade 3 or so. And so I took piano lessons through grade school. And I went as far as grade 6 in piano. And desperately wanted to quit it because, you know, it was Royal Conservatory only. They wouldn't even let me learn modern tunes on the side, you know. My piano teacher was strictly a Royal Conservatory program. So, you know, that can be pretty boring for a little kid. And so I kind of got out as soon as I was allowed to get out. And then another important factor was in grade 4 or 5, I had Sonia Dunn for a teacher, and she was extremely influential in growing music in the schools in Sudbury, and she taught us all to sing folk songs, you know, like Mako the Bodhi Shore and Kumbaya and all those things. And so everybody in our class had to learn to sing, and her son Paul was an eager musician, and he and I went to Knights of Columbus Boys Camp together out on Lang Lake, at least 2 summers and possibly 3 in a row. And Sonia would drive us out there in her bright red Pontiac convertible with the white top and a white interior. It's quite the car. And Paul and I, while we were there, he played acoustic guitar, and we started a folk mass. And so I played organ and he played guitar. And Brian actually showed me a write-up from a diocesan newsletter a while, I don't know, a number of years ago, describing the new folk mass at the Knights of Columbus Boys Camp. It was run by Father McKee, who was just a great person and did so much for the community in so many ways. And he ran this boys camp, and his right-hand man was Billy Balfe, who was had been a former pro football player, and there was nonstop activities there, and Paul taught me how to play about I don't know, a number of campfire kind of open guitar chords, and so that was kind of my start to guitar. Between his mother and himself, I learned a bunch of campfire chords and played along. I'd play at home in my bedroom, you know, try to figure out songs. Just my first time I ever played in front of people was at a talent show at St. Charles College. And I think I was in grade 12. And I went out and did Johnny Winter Tune and I think I did Johnny Be Good and Good Morning Little Schoolgirl from Johnny Winter's record. And then I never played in front of people again until I just played in my bedroom, and I went to university at Laurentian, and took phys ed and became involved with gymnastics. And gymnastics became my life for 12 years. I coached pretty much 7 days a week and had part-time jobs to keep me going. And later, like in the, I guess the late 70s, early 80s maybe, I would go to the matinees at the Colson or the Kingsway or the Park, and I say all had matinees, and play a tune or two. So I had an apartment that would have been in the early 80s, and some people came over after the bar, and Dan Bedard was one of them, and he saw my big collection of blues records and said, "Oh wow, you love the blues, and did you play?" And I said, "Well, I plink around a little bit on them." He said, "Well, learn a tune and we'll get you up." So he was playing with Peter Nelson, and I can't remember the original drummer's name in their band, but they were students at Cambridge College in the music program, and they started getting me up to do a tune or two every once in a while when they were playing, and kind of got my first legs at playing a little bit in the bar. And my old mentor, Floyd Gibson, got me up for a bunch of matinees, and we sat and talked music a lot. And then I quit coaching in 1985 and moved back to Sudbury. I was coaching in Mississauga that year. I moved back to Sudbury and just started hounding all my guitar player friends to teach me stuff. And everybody was extremely generous. And so that was July of 85. I moved back to Sudbury, and April of 86, we started the Whiskey River Blues Band, which we started out of going to matinees at the Colson. Joe was a doorman there, and I had been a doorman there in 1982. And Rick Panis would always be there in the afternoon, and so he would play drums, and usually Rick would, or Jojo White would play bass, or somebody would play bass, and we'd do 3 or 4 blues tunes every Saturday. And then Johnny Scapazzi offered us a free jam space, so we started jamming and putting a band together. And Jojo was already playing in another band, and so was Rick. So we had to find a new bass player and find a drummer, and we named the band the Whiskey River Blues Band because the lounge at the Colson where we played music was called Johnny's Whiskey River at the time. So we figured since Johnny had helped us get a start, that we'd name the band after the bar. And just kind of took off from there.
Wow.
Is that too much information?
No, I love that. You were a gymnastics teacher?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Coach, for many years. I had a kid. I worked in Oakville, and then I came back to Sudbury because one of the profs at Laurentian had wanted to start a gym club here because he had been a competitive gymnast out west, and it just wasn't happening. So I started my own club and got the use of the C gym at Sudbury Secondary, the old little gym downstairs at Tech, and I kept the fees really low because I always believed in the talent in Sudbury. There's so much talent in Sudbury, and so I worked odd jobs like at the Colson and other places. Worked as an orderly at the General and the Psych Ward. I did all kinds of things to keep me going so that it would be affordable for kids to do gymnastics. And I had a really good group of boys, one of whom actually taught a move on floor that he was the first one in Canada to land. And he learned it in that C gym in Sudbury Secondary with progressions and spotting and just regular little crash mats, whereas everybody else had foam pits and harnesses and everything else to learn things. And his name was Walter Quigley, or is Walter Quigley, and we competed in Saskatoon at the national championships, and he won floor and vaulting and made the national team. And so then I made the national team on the men's elite planning committee, and it was a really rewarding experience. And Walter had a lot of talent and went on to win. I think he won a bronze at all the boys wound up going away to university, like down in Toronto and stuff like that. And so I had closed the club and moved to coach in Mississauga when they did that. But he wound up winning a bronze in at the Pan Am Games, I think, for rings. And so then I just couldn't stand the way the kids bore the brunt of all the politics, and the fact that I had to live somewhere like the GTA to make a living. So I just had enough. And so I came back to Sudbury and became a musician.
What was the rent like back then? How much? Do you remember? Like $50, $100?
No, like a one-bedroom apartment is probably, I don't remember exactly, but I'm guessing somewhere between $100 and $200 a month, like
Wow.
140 or 150, depending on the apartment.
Wow.
I know when I moved, we formed the band in '86, and I was selling cars at Empire Motors at the time, '87, and a fellow I knew who was also started selling cars the same time as me. He lived in Gatineau, and his mother had an apartment upstairs for rent, so I rented that for because they hadn't been using it. He got me like a deal, like $125 a month, everything included. This little one-bedroom upstairs, and I stayed there for years. I think it wound up going as high as $175 by the time I moved out, which is when I bought the house in Gatineau in 1994.
The same house?
No,
Oh.
it was on the next block.
Okay.
And now, and it was around that same time that Linda and I really got together. We had dated a little bit in the mid '80s, but she thought I was a little too crazy, so I got along. And then '94 we met again, and we were together like almost every day from that moment. And that was just after I bought the house in Gatineau, and we moved in. She moved in about 6 or 8 months later, and I asked her to marry me. We kind of lived here as a family until we got married in '98. We were still living in Gatineau, and then we bought the house in Coppercliff and kept the house in Gatineau, and now Stephanie and Jared live in it.
Perfect.
So they're my tenants.
And that's where you're building a fence.
Yeah.
Right on. So you said something about being allowed to quit piano when you were in grade 6. What does that mean, allowed to quit?
Well, it means like when I took piano lessons, I wasn't allowed to quit. Like I would complain about it, and my parents would just say, "No, you're doing this. Like this is good for you." That's the way it was then. If your parents decided something was good for you, you did it. And then when I was in grade 9, I was just like, it was like the most uncool thing, to be like working on classical piano. And then so it was in grade 9 that I managed to convince them that I didn't need to do piano anymore. And then as soon as when I graduated St. Charles, I went immediately to St. Mike's at U of T. So I was at U of T, and there was halls all over the place, and every one had a piano in it. And by then, I hadn't touched the piano in 5 or 6 years, And I just felt like, man, I really blew it. I should have kept taking lessons, you know.
How'd you feel about the piano as an instrument? Like,
Oh, I love it.
yeah.
It's a wonderful instrument. I have one at home, and I play it for myself.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I seldom do that in public. Although when Steph and I used to play together a lot, we would switch, and I would play piano and she'd play guitar when we did swinging shuffles and stuff like shake, rattle, and roll and stuff. I'd play piano for that. She would play guitar.
So I see here that you have some merch, some T-shirts for your band now.
Yeah, we got T-shirts last week, and stickers and buttons, and we put out a record a month and a half ago.
Really?
And it's got 13 original tunes on it, and it's called The Blues Ain't Bad is the name of the record.
Where is this? Online?
You can get it. It's on 25 streaming sites, and we have CDs, and I just ordered vinyl.
Wow! Congratulations, yeah. Tommy.
Oh, thanks.
I heard one of your previous albums somewhere,
okay.
And I liked some of the songs on there. They were really, really catchy and
right on.
Really well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I had a CD, or I don't remember now exactly what happened, but I don't have any stuff left.
Yeah,
really.
Well, this was my 5th record, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so it took us about a year to do this, and Steph's husband, Jer Quinlan, did pretty well all the recording for us. We spent one day at Matt Waywell's studio, which we played live off the floor and kind of gave us the basic bass and drums, and all the rest we did in my music room at home with Jer. Jer has a really good program, and all files together and sent it to a guy named Stu Young in Toronto, who's kind of a renowned an award-winning producer, and he put the final thing together for us. And he's just a great guy.
Okay.
Hang on one sec.
Okay.
Just one sec. Okay, sorry.
No problem. So this question, Tommy, is what I call the daily segment, and it's a question that I ask every guest. You would be now the 25th person that I ask this to.
Okay.
And it's exactly the same words every time. What is one thing that you feel would make Sudbury greater?
Well, the biggest thing that I feel that Sudbury could improve, and it's not just Sudbury, lots of towns are like this, but they need to support their own more than they do. They don't tend to be supportive of their own talent.
Yeah.
That's one place that the town could really improve. Like when Walter won floor and vaulting and made the national team in Saskatoon, the Sudbury Star gave it 2 lines. And it's a pretty big deal. He's the only person that's ever made the national team from Sudbury in gymnastics, and he did it with flash. He threw some big stuff and nailed it, and that's actually spawned a friendship that developed with Peter Deslitz and myself. He was a reporter at the Star, and I had called after the paper came out and kind of ranted a little bit at receptionist about how much they dropped the ball, and
Oh,
so and Peter called me and asked me a lot of questions about so he could learn more about the situation, and then he put an article in, and he covered all our competitions well after that.
hmm.
But it's just like the first instinct seems to be that if you're from somewhere else, you're better. You know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then I've lived like quite a number of places. I've never lived anywhere that has more talent than Sudbury per capita. Like there's so many good musicians here. There's so many good artists, and there's such an abundance of talent in athletics. I mean, the city is really a hotbed for talent, and it should get behind it a little more than it does. That's my feeling about it. So more venues for everybody that does stuff, like more venues for artists and more venues for musicians. And well, I mean, there's quite a bit of support for sports, but arts and music could use a lot of help from the, like. Of course, I wouldn't want to say from the city because they can't even bother fixing the roads. But I want to talk about the city. Anyway, I'm not very impressed with our local municipality in terms of governance and managing. But the people themselves could get behind their local artists more. They could go out and support. And that's just the biggest thing that I've noticed about here. Like I play down south, and people come out, and then they find out about you, and then they follow you, and they come and see you next time, and that doesn't happen as much in Sudbury. What are your feelings on that?
Oh, well, I was episode 19. You'll have to listen to
Hmm?
it. Yeah, I came on the show as a guest myself, and I answered the question. But I just said, let's just put a roller coaster over top of downtown. You're walking down the street and people are screaming. Ah. So
Well,
last thing, Tommy, you said something
okay.
about an interview with was it CBC or CTV that you did the other
Yeah,
day?
Marcus Schwabe last week. I think it's going to air this Thursday.
Oh, it hasn't aired yet. Hmm.
It hasn't aired yet. No.
Well, congratulations on everything, and
Well, thanks very much.
you're quite the staple in these parts, as far as I'm concerned. I've known you a long time, and you're a great player, very well respected, and you always bring people out with you when you play. And so, thank you for your time coming on to Sudbury Interviews.
Oh, well, thanks very much for having me, Dan.
It's
I'm
my
honored.
pleasure. Yeah.
Okay,
Have a good night, man. Take care.
you too. You got me out of some fencing work. Thanks.
You got to get back to work now, right?
Okay.
Nice.